Hello and welcome back to my model railroad. Last time we left off with this project having gotten some really simple code to work detecting rail cars and lighting directional LEDs from two directions. Cool for a guy who is not a coder nor an electrical engineer. So here is a look behind the curtain, or behind the mountain ridge. It's completely unfinished with lots and lots of pink foam insulation and unpainted plaster cloth, but the tracks are glued down in place so that they don't move and derail cars. But you also get the idea behind how I could stage two trains back there and why I need to know which track is occupied. First thing I need to do is locate the IR detectors in such a way that I can maximize the length of the passing sidings available. With the location of the IR detectors identified, it's time to drop some wires. I ended up using a rubber mallet to drive a bamboo skewer through the 4 inches of foam. Luckily for me, I missed all the wooden support structures under the layout on this eastern side of the layout. After drilling out the foam with a long shanked drill bit, I came back to square up the top of the hole with a chisel. This will allow me to fit the IR detector and all the bits on the IR board into the hole without having to force anything in place. Once the signal box is placed over the IR bulbs, I can set them in place. Now, this signal box not only makes it look nice, but it also should help with any false signals from overhead lighting. After setting that second detector on the south side of the east side layout, I checked for car clearance. And we're good. Over on the western side, I wasn't so lucky with clearance or being able to put detectors on the outside of the siding. Now it's just a matter of feeding the power and output wires down to the underside of the layout. The old tape the wires to a barbecue skewer works just fine. Underneath, I use wire connectors to run longer wires to a common bus or the Aurdino connector, as DuPont connectors I have are only 12 inches long. I also ran wires from the Arduino all the way to the front side of the layout so I could put the LEDs onto the control panel. Once everything was set in place, it's time to fire up the power and check out the system. And as you can see here, I used red LEDs for the detectors so that it's clear that it's not the switch indicator, that it's actually a train location indicator. And yes, the LEDs will flicker as the cars pass by, but that's because the car ends and the next car begins and there's a gap between them where the couplers connect. But I think it's pretty clear as to where the train is. And now I let the train run until I get a red light on the east side of the passing siding, and I stop the engine. We go around to the back side and see where it stopped. You'll notice that the engine stopped with enough clearance to throw turnouts and have the other engine pass without colliding with each other. You'll also notice that I put a divider up, as the two IR detector lights set each other off unless I have something there physically blocking the signal from the north side to the south side and south side to the north side. Either way, I'm calling this a success. Time to get that freight train rolling again. While we watch trains run, I should mention that I do plan at some point to add some scenery to the back side. And that's when I'll affix the IR houses in place and put up something nicer than that failed 3D print to block the eastern side detectors from triggering each other. What I do plan on doing back here is probably a downward slope from the mountain pass, and lots of grass and maybe some trees. Just kind of make it like the trains are out in the middle of nowhere. So if I run a train car with a camera, when it makes it around the bend, it'll just kind of be like, oh, we've left the little sleepy little town with the 2 or 3 industries, and we are now in some remote countryside, transiting back to the town or to a different town. I know this was a very simple build and a simple code, but I do hope that it inspires you to get out of your comfort zone. And I hope that this series inspires you to do the same. Go try something new. Until next time, happy railroading.